Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. This is a bit of a bonus video outside of my normal ones because I've been working very, very hard. I want to talk about Graham Moore. He's the guy that's taking Runcorn, the Runcorn by-election result to court. It's all finished now. The judge has gone off for a huddle, and I think, and he'll delay his judgment, but it will come at some point in the future. When, I do not know. Again, I point people to Andy the Gabby Cabby. He's covering this in much more detail than I am. However, a couple of people have made comments on the channel, basically saying, oh, well, he's saying that he couldn't possibly have got two results of exactly 50 votes, or he's saying that he could not have got two votes of exactly 50 votes, two results of exactly 50 votes in two consecutive elections. And they're saying, yes, it's unlikely. But he said, but it's not impossible. Yeah. And so I thought, you know what, as a little exercise, I'll run this. And so I run this. And indeed, the chances of getting any number of specific votes is actually quite low. If you were to predict what they would be, to pick a number N out of votes V, across a normal distribution scale, would be actually quite difficult. Now, I've made a couple of assumptions just to make life easy. I've limited the votes to a total of 3,500, which is actually fewer votes than were actually cast. And if there was more votes cast, it would actually make it even more improbable. And I've limited it to 6 candidates. Again, this is making the number smaller. If I'd have done more candidates, again, the number would have been even bigger and therefore much more unlikely. So I've done a couple of things. One of the other things I did do, though, as part of the distribution on this, is I've said that on the second election, the first and second places were within 6 votes. And I've fed all this in. So what I've done is I've done a multi-nominative probability using statistical software. And so, having told you what my conditions are, that limit of first and second being 6th was only for one of the elections. The second election, first election, same consideration, 3,500. The person in last place getting 50, only 6 candidates as well. But I didn't put a limit on what the winners got. So the normal distribution phase, with the only controlling element being that the person in last place got 50. So that was the setup. And then we run the numbers. Now, I run this through, like I say, a computational tool and a statistical tool. And I found the answer to be highly remote. In fact, here's how remote it would be. To get 50 votes out of an electorate of 3,500, having specified that you must get 50 votes, the chance of getting 50 votes are roughly 1 in a trillion. And so when you multiply that up by 2 to get the second, to get 50 votes the second time, and then calculating the one with the constraints, one without the constraints, and allowing a random distribution rather than waiting for preferences, which is what you would normally do, but just purely random to bring the numbers down and make it, easier to deal with. The chance of getting 2 votes of exactly 50 votes, 2 elections of exactly 50 votes are 1 in a septillion. That is to say, put a 1 and a comma and then 24 zeros after it. Now, how unlikely that is, it is a non-zero likelihood, a non-zero probability. However, if there were 1 million elections every second, and you started at the moment of Big Bang, in the beginning of the universe, and you went up to now, you would have to run it through 10 universes. You would have to run it 10 times longer than our universe has currently existed for that to come up again and hit 50 and 50. It is that impossible. So I'm going to say it is not impossible. It is a non-zero probability. But when you have to run through the lifetime of 10 universes to achieve it, I'm going to suggest it's not likely to happen anytime soon. It's like when you shuffle cards. You can shuffle 1,000,000 packs of cards from the very beginning of time, and you still haven't shuffled those cards in the same order twice. The numbers just grow so big. So yeah, that's what I've done. If anyone wants to see other powers of magical mathematical trickery, just ask. But it is incredibly impossible to do this. You need access to some pretty powerful computational tools that not everyone will get. You can't just go online and get them. You have to pay for them. But it's one of those hangover days from my when I was at uni and doing that. But there we go. So let me know if you think it's possible. Let me know if you think Graham Moore was right in saying it's impossible. Or if you're going to be one of those sticklers for accuracy, well, I'd like to take you to a casino. Thanks very much. Bye.